It's such an honor to be able to record this conversation, the Start Now culture, where we get to have all the conversation that we need to have in regards to just people going through the process of following their passion and doing what they believe it's their purpose. This is what we are calling the Start Now culture, and going through the process to build everything that you are building so that you can transform your better tomorrow.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
There are things that I'm like, I really wish they had just, like, actually, it might have been ruined. You know that thing they say where it's like, I missed the bus. And you hear these stories. I missed the bus. I had to wait for another one. And then you hear that the bus they were supposed to be on crashed, right? And it is real. You hear those stories all the time. We know of one man who, there was a crash in Ghana, very tragic, where a plane like landed. And one guy said, Effie, I was the last person in that line to get on that bus. And I missed the seat by one person. So if I was one person up in the line, you wouldn't be talking to me today.
Right.
So that it goes back to what we were saying before. But like, yes, everything, have the no's. Add it to your list. How many people will tell you, oh, I auditioned, Taraji, I auditioned for 500 movies, and the one that I got into was the Oscar-winning, Emmy-nominated, and I went in. It just takes one for the right thing. So keep listing them, every no, write it down or record it somewhere so that when the time comes to share your story, you can say, right. Oh, you're here asking me a question. You rejected me? And that's something that's been on my mind lately. I know I'm preaching a bit, but
that's all right.
The cornerstone, the concept of a cornerstone, that's something that hit me maybe 3 weeks ago. I was reading something in the Word, maybe the book of Ruth or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, do you see how the rejections will put you in a position where eventually you have to be that piece that brings it together? But if you were just a part of what makes the structure, there's nothing special, nothing unique about you. But when you become that cornerstone that's been rejected, then what you have to say and do is what is most important.
Okay, so if that's not a word, you have not heard anything else. If you're going to take anything away from this conversation, that
Cornerstone.
There, that has just sunk right in there. And wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I get it.
Wow.
I'm gonna live in that. Keep pushing me out. Keep doing that. Keep doing it. The time will come. You're gonna need me.
This is what I needed to hear, because handling no has been quite harder for me, I guess, and navigating through this space. No's, sometimes they can get to me, and it can, for me, I would define no as not, I guess, not wanted or not finding a place where I meant to be. Even though I know that I need to be there, I know I've got space there and I can add value there. So for me, hearing what you've just said, it's put life completely different, and it's something that I'm going to apply in my own life, and now I'm going to handle no a little bit more different than the way I've been handling no's. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Honestly. The people in your life that I guess that you hold dearly, how important are they to you, and do you have those people for you?
By grace, I do.
Yeah.
You know, when I moved, I built a huge community of people around me. And what I've learned now in hindsight is the importance of really understanding who is a friend, who's an acquaintance, who's a peer, who's a colleague. And this is probably one time where I think having the labels or the categories helps. I'm one of those people that if I get along with you on our first meeting, you're my friend.
Yeah.
But, and so then what that does is set you up for me with expectations and you to fail ultimately. Because if you don't call me to go out, or you have an opportunity and it goes to someone else, or I've done something for you and you don't return that in a time where I thought, I expected they would. Well, no, because that was never the agreement.
Yeah.
And so what I'm really grateful for is that there are people that God put in my life when I was very young, or people that have come across in the last, 15 years or so, that I don't talk to regularly, but I have their best interest in heart and they genuinely have mine.
Yeah.
And these are the people that have shaken me up when they've seen that I'm blind to what's around me.
Yeah.
The reason I got my master's is because one of my very close friends, who also migrated back to Ghana, called me one day and said, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
You've been working for this particular company for how many years now? And I never see you. I know where your hand is." She said, "I can come and see a show and I know exactly which line you wrote or what joke you did, but I never see you and I'm tired. So you better fix it or find something else to do where you'll be appreciated." And I was like, I thought I was doing great. I was humbly at the backstage doing my thing. She said, "I'm done. I'm not coming to another, I'm done." And that had me sitting down and questioning. That's a friend. When I had a lot of people who were like, but what's she doing, wearing, thinking,
Yeah.
Copy, ditto. And then when it's time to throw you under the bus, there's no hesitation. And there you are. I thought we were, no. So learning how to really keep yourself guarded, guard your heart through your eyes, what you see, but also just figure it out.
Yeah.
Learn quickly how to figure out who your friends are. My mom used to always say this proverb about the crab not having a lot of friends or something. I can't remember it now. But I remember being so annoyed at her. Because I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, it's fine to have lots of friends, but now I'm older, I'm like, And she used to say, show me your friends and I'll show you your character. And that
hits you
every day now. I'm like, does this person reflect what I would want people to think of me?
Yeah.
If not, easy done. You're a colleague, you're a peer, I like you, that doesn't mean we're friends.
Yeah.
So that's been one of the biggest ones for me. And I'm very grateful that there are people who have seen my downfall, seen me at my highest and still go, I see the truth of who you are, Effie, and that's what I'm there for, that's what I love.
Yeah.
Very grateful for that,
And you get to apply that
Yep.
within your work every day and what you're building.
And that's why I now can continue to build without really worrying about whether I'm liked as well, which is a big one. They say that now it's common parlance to say not everybody has to like you.
Yeah.
Or there's a Japanese word for it where you practice the art of being unlikable.
Wow.
I can't remember it now, but I think there's a book that I want to read. I haven't read it. But point being that I'm now okay if you don't like me, if I know that what I'm going to say will help you eventually, that's okay. You don't have to like me.
Yeah.
It might hurt a bit, but that's ego, and I can afford to live without that.
Yeah. And that grounds you, and that makes you who you are, and that makes you what makes you different, that peace compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
And which I absolutely love. I am a person who is building this and going through this process, but through all this, I keep asking every single person that I want to be able to interview or that I'm interviewing is that, how would you do this? I'm not sure what I know you don't have kids for sure, but have you thought of how you're going to navigate this with kids, a husband, when it gets to that, when it gets to that? Have you thought of how you're going to navigate that? And do you have any advice that you've thought, this is something that I can apply? Because I want to take it on as well, because I'm having to think about that as a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope I answer this right. I think one thing that I've constantly thought about is options, giving my kids options. in that I know how it feels to have to convince your family that what you're doing will make sense one day, and how to convince them that there's what the world is telling you, and there is the reality, of course. I'm not loaded. I'm still very much needing to work to feed myself. But I know that it's all seeds planted for a time where there will be abundance. And getting my, especially my parents to not stress has been very difficult, because I know that's what they're worried about. How is she surviving? So what I now believe in is being there for my kids in a way where they can offer me, where I can offer them the option. You want to do a dance class this year? Let's do the dance class. Even if you're not doing it to become a dancer, you'll learn skills that you'll use somewhere. I used to do St. John's Ambulance when I was in, year 3 or 4. And I've used some of the skills from that in my 20s. I don't know how to do CPR anymore. I can salute. And I used all of it, right? So nothing's wasted. So I want my kids to be able to come to me and say, I want to do Kung Fu this year, and I can go ahead and do it. Even if you're going to become a journalist, it'll make sense one day. So that's one thing that's important for me, is not stressing for your kids, and taking enough time to hear what moves their heart, and helping facilitate that process of them getting there, and believing them. It's not so much about, okay, go ahead and do it. Believe in them, whatever they want to do. Believe in that dream, and help them to get there. Even if they pivot with them. So staying malleable, I think, is something that I hope I can do when I eventually give birth. And I know with my partner at the moment, that's something that I'm grateful for, is he's so invested in my dreams as I am in his, that it makes it easier for us to do things creatively. It makes it easier for me to get up and do the thing, because I know there's someone that's like, well done. I heard well done, even if he's not physically here, he lives in another country, but that support. And I hope I can do that for my kids in a way that doesn't lead with the anxiety. I hope that answers
that
okay,
is perfect.
Good.
Because I'm going through the same. Like, I understand that, like, having to convince your parents. So giving your kids that space is definitely something that is needed. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this today, especially with the show that you have on. And I am really excited to be watching it tonight as well. So I just had to think about it. I'm like, yes, tonight. I am so excited, and I can't wait to see you on stage. I've loved seeing you on stage, and I cannot wait to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for taking the time and watching this conversation and learning and taking it all in. I have absolutely enjoyed having this conversation with Effie Nkrumah. I would like to ask one thing of you. Please subscribe to this channel, because this is what makes us better, knowing that you are watching and also you are following our journey. It helps us grow more than you think. Please also follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, LinkedIn, at Freely. Thank you.